everyone. Welcome back to the show that shares with you everything that should be done before saying I do. This is Before I Do, live on the Couples Academy Network. My name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings.
We're your Couples Academy practitioners, and our job, our responsibility, our honor is to facilitate courageous conversations on dating and relationships.
Okay, so that is completely not our fault because I wasn't here last week. And so we got to get back, we have to get our synergy back.
You said it, I didn't.
This show is meant to be interactive. So when we pose the speak now or forever hold your peace question, please, we want you to speak. Okay. Holding your peace is not an option. I know we make it seem like it's an option, but we really want you to speak. So when we pose that question, make sure you tune in and make sure you weigh in and give us your response.
As a matter of fact, tonight's show is actually all about your questions. This is the last Wednesday night of the month, which means we are in the midst of our Speak Now Q&A night. These are real questions from real people, which are you. So we are here answering your questions on dating and relationships.
Yes, and I just want you all to know, like, literally, this is free, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you get to put your business out there. Nobody knows it's you. You get to ask us questions, and we literally weigh in on your situation. So take advantage. It's Q&A night. Like, that's what we're here for.
Go ahead and put your questions and comments in the chat. We actually have a couple of questions already. We just finished an amazing month talking about the age-old art of flirting. So we talked about what is flirting, the difference between flirting and teasing, and some of the benefits of flirting. There are actually some health benefits to flirting, and we reviewed those, which are it boosts self-esteem and confidence, it reduces stress, it improves your communication skills, and it helps you to feel sexier. And then we also talked about the definition of flirting as well.
Which it means that it's an subtle behavior and a form of communication that emphasizes body language in which someone is showing interest in someone else, engaging with someone for sexual desire, or you can be flirting with someone just playfully for amusement.
Absolutely. Then we went on to talk about the 5 different types of flirting, the 5 different flirting styles. We talked about the traditional style of flirting, which again is the woman utilizing her body language to show that she is open to a man coming and approaching her, and then engaging in the verbal interaction and initiating a conversation. Then we talked about the physical form of flirting, where you're actually being strategic in as it relates to putting your hands on someone and yourself, absolutely, and utilizing your own touching yourself in certain ways. Not to sound that sounds really weird.
You made it.
Well, you want to help me clean that up there?
Okay. Yeah, it might just be, a clutching of those pearls. It might be a nice little, your hand rubbing your hand across your neckline to emphasize, a dress you're wearing or whatever. Putting your hand on your chest area, just kind of, reminding yourself that they're there and drawing attention to wherever you want to draw attention to. So it could be something as subtle as that.
Absolutely. Then we also talked about being sincere, which is just showing yourself as being interested in someone, engaging, learning more about them. Playful is just, again, being flirtatious from a humorous standpoint and engaging with someone. Yep.
And then last but not least is polite, being nice, being kind, being generous to someone. So that can be a form of flirting as well.
Absolutely. All right. So if you all will remind us at the end of tonight's show, remember we provided you with a QR code in order to figure out exactly what your flirting personality is. We have that available tonight. So if you all will put in the chat section before the night is over, we will flash that slide so you all can get that QR code. For those of you who were not able to do that and take the test, we will allow you to be able to have access to that. Listen, we're going to get into our questions for tonight, and be sure to put yours in the chat. We're going to take a really quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Before I Do. Stay tuned, everybody.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources. Watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples. Sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Back to Before I Do. Tonight is our Speak Now Q&A night. We are here answering your questions, so be sure to get those into the chat section, and we'll be sure to respond those in kind. We actually do have some questions for tonight, so we are going to go ahead and jump into our very first question. Question number one: as a man who is big on leadership, do I set a bad precedence by entertaining a woman that approaches me first? I would say absolutely not. Even though, again, we live in a day and age where, again, women are learning to I don't want to say learning because they've always known how to do it. Women are becoming more assertive on the romantic side, and they're not waiting again on the traditional side and just depending on their body language and the subtle hints and waiting for a man to come and engage with a verbal conversation with them. They're actually going to men that they are interested in and engaging in those conversations. Now, with that being said, it is going to be important that, again, if leadership is important to you, because women are still looking for leadership. Just because a woman approaches you first does mean she is not trying to dominate, that she's trying to dominate the relationship. What it means is that she is adamant about what it is that she's interested in. And so as a man that prides himself on leadership, you want to show that you are assertive as it relates to the things that you are pursuing as well, including your relationships. This is not about fighting for control within the dynamic of your relationship. This is about matching that energy. This is about making sure that you are remaining vigilant in your role as a leader and making sure that, again, you're demonstrating that you plan to be assertive when it comes to being in the relationship and the pursuits that you have as well.
Yeah, but honor yourself and be honest and truthful about what it is that you like and don't like, because I've seen situations where, you know, you might go along with the leadership of a woman. Like, let's say you're not really attracted to women, or you don't really care for women being that dominant and assertive and coming at you first. You know, don't accept it in the beginning and then throw it back up in her face after the fact. Don't use it to weaponize her after the fact. Well, you pursued me and you know. No, the bottom line is, if you embrace it wholeheartedly, and don't then use it after the fact as something to weaponize. So I think we just have to be very clear that, you know, if you're going to embrace it, embrace it.
Absolutely.
And if not, then know yourself, and to thine own self be true. For
men, it does sometimes serve as a red flag, which I think is part of the premise of the question is it a red flag if a woman comes and approaches me? And I don't think it necessarily has to be. It is something that you'll want to definitely keep in consideration, because it may bode a sign of the type of person that you're potentially engaged in entering into a conversation and potential relationship with. That again, she may be a go-getter. She may be so she's not going to wait around for you to actually plan things, to do things. She is going to be about the business of her life. And so it's important for you to make sure that you're adamant about the business of your life and also the relationship as well. And usually in situations like that, if you do not take control and assert that position, then she will. And so you cannot be upset and angry because you are not filling a role that needs to be filled. And which is the case of a lot of men today. Is like, you don't want her to lead, but you're also not leading either. So that's not going to bode well for you. And this can be a telltale sign that that's not the type of person that you're actually engaged with. All right, question number 2.
All right. So my partner is a naturally flirtatious person, which is how we met. Okay. How can I address his inappropriate interactions with others without making it seem like I'm trying to make him compromise who he is? Oh, man. So this is one where, all right, people will definitely tell you, well, this is how you met me. I was like this when you met me, right? That is the banner and the billboard. I was like this when you met me. So you have your partner. They were naturally flirtatious, which is probably what attracted to you, what attracted you to this person. They might have caught your attention through some of this flirty behavior, but now it's an issue because the interactions with others, are the same, right? And so now this person has ingrained a behavior into their identity. And so you have a dilemma. Wow, do you accept this as this person's identity, or do you really hold to your standards and expect the person to adjust the behavior? Well, what we're going to encourage you to do is, again, flirting, it's a behavior, right? It is something that we can consciously choose to do or choose not to do. And so this goes back to really honoring the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it goes back to honoring the relationship. You have an expectation and a standard that if I'm in a monogamous relationship with you, yes, you were flirting with me in the beginning, but we're together now,
Mm-hmm.
right? There are certain benefits that I'm supposed to get that other people are not getting when we're in a monogamous relationship, right? And so you hold firm to those standards. If that is an expectation, that is a standard, then it is okay to communicate that to your partner and to have a really serious conversation to say, look, I'm noticing you flirt with me, that's acceptable, but now we're in a relationship. I expect this to be a benefit to the relationship. These other people are not in our relationship. This isn't something that should go outside of us. And to make that clear. And if your partner struggles with it and it's a challenge for them, they have the wondering eyes, they're always smiling and really engaging in other people in that way, it's time to have a conversation. First, they may not even know they're flirting,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it is naturally ingrained in their behavior,
Right.
like literally, you're going to have to spell out what flirting looks, feels, and sounds like in those situations. Now, if they choose to minimize it, no, I don't see it. Then you know what? You have to hone the conversation in by saying, look, this is how I experience you.
Mm-hmm.
We're out on a date. The waiter comes over and takes our order, right? The waiter is completely not looking at me. The waitress, she's not looking at me at all. You guys are having this long, drawn-out conversation, laughing, giggling back and forth. And I'm sitting here having the experience of, wow, she doesn't see me or hear me. And in this moment, he doesn't see me or hear me. And so you know what? I choose to be with someone that sees me, hears me, and honors me at every point in time that I'm with them. So really, it's just having a serious conversation about how you experience them. Because sometimes if a person they flirt so much, they honestly don't know the difference between flirting and breathing, because it's just what they do.
Yeah, this is really coming down to a conversation about boundaries and expectations
Mm-hmm.
within a relationship. Because again, the fact that your partner is a naturally flirtatious
Mm-hmm.
person and that's how you met them may be completely fine when they're single. But
Right.
some of those interactions and some of that behavior within the confines of a relationship may not necessarily be appropriate. So it's one of those things where some of those actions may be appropriate now, but maybe not now.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, being able to be honest about those things, how you are impacted by them, and then more appropriately, what it is that you would like to see.
Right.
Also, what may be effective as well is a shoe swap.
Mm-hmm.
So what if, again, hypothetically, you engaged in some of those behaviors as far as with communicating this to your partner? What if you engaged in some of the behaviors and some of the things that you observed him doing? How would he feel about those things?
Mm-hmm.
So just making sure to have a really thorough conversation, because again, as you mentioned, you're not necessarily trying to get him to not be who he truly is. What you're looking for is consideration of you,
Respect.
and consideration and respect of the relationship. Mm-hmm. And that is absolutely important.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that sometimes it does take that. We call it a shoe swap.
Mm-hmm.
It's just empathy in action, right? It unfortunately takes sometimes your partner to see that, no, your eyes work as well,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, okay, I see that fine man over there. I see his chest is nice, firm, and I see his butt. I like, my eyes work as well, okay? And I make a conscious choice to honor our relationship by not engaging in those behaviors. And so I think it's really important to put that out there.
Tonight's our Speak Now Q&A night, so we're answering your questions. Be sure to get them in the chat, and we will be sure to address them accordingly. We're going to take a really brief commercial break, and we'll be right back with more before I do. Stay tuned, everybody.
Welcome back to Before I Do. Tonight is our Speak Now Q&A night. So yes, this is your night. Ask us a question. Place it in the chat area. We want to hear from you. What are some questions that you have about dating, relationships, marriage, dating, relationships? I said it twice because we want to hear your questions. All right. You have us for free tonight. So why you have us? For the next few minutes, we want to hear from you. We do have some questions that did come in throughout the week that we're addressing tonight. But if you have a question, man, ask it. All right. So speak now or forever hold your peace.
All right. Our next question. I befriended a coworker at my job. Things were fine at first, but now he is getting weird and asking some personal and intrusive questions. How can I address his behavior without it threatening his job? First of all, thank you for asking this question, because again, you absolutely could blow up his spot, as the young people will say. And so you are being considerate of him.
Do the young people say that?
Yes, they do. The young people still do say blow up the spot.
Okay.
So yeah, so it sounds like, again, there have been some boundaries that have been breached. There has been some misunderstanding or misinterpretation that may have taken place. And that's one of the things that we talked about when it comes to flirting, is that when you identify that there has been a misinterpretation or a breach when it comes to some of those boundaries, having a candid conversation with the person to make sure that you both are on the same page as it relates to the level of your relationship. Whereas they think there may be more there and you were just trying to be civil and cordial, you want to make sure that you're clear about your intentions and really making sure that you're honest about that. Now, unfortunately, we will have to be honest to say, if this does persist and continue, you will unfortunately have to go to your human resources department if it is something that ends up impacting your workplace, because you do have the right to definitely come to work to be able to focus on your job. But in the meantime, be sure to have a conversation with this person one-on-one, see if you're able to reason with them, and to make sure that you all are on the same page when it comes to your relationship.
I would say workplace friendships and situationships can be really, really complicated, right? Because we spend, at least 40 hours in our workplace a week. So we spend a lot of time in our workplace. And so one thing I will tell you is this: we all need to ask ourselves, what are healthy relationships that I want to cultivate in the workplace? And then what are some relationships that I choose not to have in my workplace, right? And so this is a situation where you said you befriended a coworker. What does that mean? Okay, because we often say friend, but the person is really an acquaintance or an associate or whatever. Friend, like for me, you're my friend when you've probably been to my house, right? Or we've gone out to eat, or so what does it mean that you befriended a coworker on the job? Have you shared personal information with this person? Like, have they met your family? Have they been to your house? Because now, if this person is getting a little too personal, did you open up the door for this? Like, did you share some things? Have they shared some things with you, right? Or are they moving this relationship a lot deeper and a lot faster than you want it to go? And so you describe it as it's getting weird. They're asking some personal and intrusive questions. So my question is it's important. It's rather than a question, I'll just say self-reflect. How much have you revealed? And how much have you permitted, right? Has this person been given a hall pass to ask these questions because you've asked them some personal questions or some intrusive questions, or you've invited them into a personal space? So just be mindful of that. I think in today's time, we really can be very casual with workplace relationships, and then we want to put up a boundary, and it's hard. And we quickly say have a conversation with a person, but let's be honest. People would rather do anything than to have a conversation with someone about a difficult or uncomfortable topic.
Yeah, but again, it's imperative, because again, it's the workplace, and both of you again are there. You're there first and foremost to do a job. So you're not necessarily there for a friendship, and so you want to ensure that you're protecting the integrity of that, with both of you all being there to do a job. And again, if you need to get HR involved to protect yourself, definitely do that.
Yeah. And, we don't always have to have a vocal conversation. You can always have a silent conversation, right? A silent or a nonverbal conversation that is through you can write a letter. And I know that sounds real old school, right? Some people choose to text, but hopefully this person doesn't have your personal phone number.
Absolutely. All right. Our last question that we received in advance was,
long story short, I suck at flirting. Oh man, me too. Okay. All right. So it says, long story short, I suck at flirting. I see someone, I get nervous, I stumble over my words. Then I ultimately walk away feeling like a loser. Oh no. Is there something or anything I can do to get better at this?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I would say that it sounds like you may have a misconception as it relates to what effective flirting looks like for you. So part of this is recognizing how you can show up as your authentic self when it comes to flirting. And I will speak as a man. We oftentimes are misinformed because of societal expectations, because of what we see in TV and movies, because of what we hear from our friends and what they say works for them. And all of those things can really turn into this gumbo of failure, of foolishness, really. And so it's important to figure out exactly, again, what is going to be specific and unique to you. The second thing is that flirting may look completely different for you. So we talked about the 5 different styles, right? Which one of those styles are the most conducive for you? Is it the traditional? Is it the physical? Again, taking the flirting personality assessment and figuring out exactly what your flirting personality is. So making sure, again, that you're remaining vigilant and not just being flirting, because flirting is not just about the act itself. It is a form of communication, and it's an opportunity to really interact with someone in a way that's going to be unique and specific to you.
And this is something that I don't think I noticed about myself, but I have some social anxiety as well sometimes when you have to have this, when you have to engage with someone that you don't know, you don't have any background knowledge or whatever. So you're just really kind of flowing, right? And so the best way to be yourself is, first of all, self-reflect. How did you like being flirted with? A lot of times we love people and express love in our love language the way we actually want to receive love. And I'm sure flirting is probably the same thing, right? If you enjoy someone making you laugh, and maybe that's your thing. If you enjoy when somebody's polite or, then maybe that's your thing, and just be polite, just be organically you. And so then once you have gained what your flirting style is, go with that. But you're right, it's going to feel weird if you're like coming off, you're trying to wing, and I've tried to do that before. And Walter's looking like, no, you look like
something wrong with you.
Yeah, you got a twitch or something.
Acting up? What is happening?
I've tried to do some things to flirt with him. He's like, no. So just be your organic self, and really kind of ask yourself, how do you like being flirted with? 9 out of 10 times, you're probably going to be able to flow in that zone a little easier.
Absolutely. Hey, you guys. So if there are no questions or comments from you all, we thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Before I Do. This has been our Q&A Speak Now night. Be sure to reach out to us for a session on couplesacademy.org. We would love to speak to you about your flirting personality. And speaking of that, let us go ahead. Y'all didn't remind us, but we're going to do it anyway. For those of you who are here, if you are interested in learning about what your flirting personality is, the QR code on the left-hand side of your screen is for women, and on the right-hand side is the flirting personality test for men. So we will give you a minute to go ahead and scan those so you can go ahead and get that test downloaded.
Yeah, it's from psychology.com, right?
Psychology Today.
Psychologytoday.com.
Yeah.
And so, you can also Google it from psychologytoday.com. And let me tell you, we took this assessment and we really enjoyed it. It was a great conversation.
It was spot on for both of us. It was spot on.
So it makes for great conversation with your partner. If you are married, dating, whatever, this week we want you to flirt.
Yes.
We want you to do something that that really gets your partner's attention, but that also empowers you to feel great about about showing them how you feel about them. So
we actually got a chance to use this past weekend. We actually went out of town for a concert and had a whole weekend.
We had date night. We had our date.
No, we had date weekend.
We really did.
We had date weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Awesome. So yeah, definitely. Again, flirting should not just be limited to individuals that are single, but if you are in a relationship, we are going to encourage you to flirt with your partner only.
Oh yeah, for real.
You heard that. If you've been joining us and listening to the show, you heard that first question. So make sure that you're flirting with your partner. But thank you all so much for tuning in to tonight's Before I Do. We'll see you all next week. Until then, have a great week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.